Welcome to another Eastland County Today Live. Today we are going to be speaking with our superintendent out of Gorman. He's going to enlighten us on a few things that are going to be going on in that area and let us know what's actually going on with the school system up there. So without any further ado, I'm going to allow HV here to take the wheel.
Thank you, Jason, and we do welcome you, Gary. Are you part of the Eastland County Speakers?
I am.
I suspected so. Give me your background.
I grew up in Cisco, where I grew up. My mom still lives there. I have lots of aunts and uncles.
Good. That speaks well for you. How long have you been at Carbon?
Been at Gorman for about a year and a half.
Did I say Carbon? I'm sorry.
I did, just a little bit further.
Well, I started in Carbon, so I have sort of a, okay, we're neighbors. Now I interrupted you. You've been there
about a year and a half. January 2013 started there.
So you have your feet on the ground.
Yes, sir.
Good. Well, we do welcome you, and we want to talk about the school. I want to inject one news item. I'm just looking at today's paper, and I hope you've seen one.
Yes, sir.
It says that the Carbon fish fry will be April the 11th. That has been changed to April the 25th. The people at the fire department discovered that they had a conflict on that date because Eastland is having their rib cook-off on April the 11th. Now that we've got that business out of the way, let's talk about the Gorman school system.
Sounds good.
Go ahead. Tell us all the good things about the Gorman system.
We've got a great school, about 315 kids, pre-K through 12.
That's great.
Great staff. Right before I left, come over here, I visited with our band director, Lisa Laminack, and she said, "Mr. Spiegel, we've got the greatest kids there are." And I said, "Oh, we do. We'll put them up against anybody."
That's great. What about your football team?
Football team didn't have as good a record this past year, but
there's always next
that's
year.
Exactly right.
That's good. What about academics? Where do you stand?
We do a good job. You know, right now is a pretty tough time throughout the state. They're STAR testing, and
is that going on now?
It's going on today, even. So this week, a lot of English writers out there in grades 4, 7,
right.
9, and 10. And so, but academically, we hosted the UIL meet in our spring meet district this past week. And,
that's great.
Did a great job. Our staff, our kids did great. Came out victorious and was 18A district champions.
Can't beat that.
No,
what is your biggest problem?
You know, people will say the enrollment. We want to try to keep our enrollment.
Well, it sounded good to me.
It's not bad. I think you know, in the past 10 years, the enrollment has declined. It's pretty well been steady the last 2 years. You know, from my standpoint, enrollment drives the dollars. And so the more kids you get, the more dollars you have. So if you have a decline, you have to look at that.
Do you have many transfer-ins?
We have some. And when I was interviewed, the board asked me what I was going to do. And I told them, you know, Gary Spiegel can't bring industry into Gorman. But
no.
What I think we can try to do is make sure that we have the best school district there is. And if
that's a big attraction to any industry is how good your school is.
It really is. You know, if we have any kids that are transferring out to neighboring school districts because they feel like we're not very good, we need to make sure that we're doing a good job. But we do have a few.
Well, invariably, you know, there are reasons. What are you doing about this common problem of bullying?
Well, you know, it's against the law to do that.
Yeah.
So we monitor that. The teachers monitor.
Do you feel you have a hand on it or grasp it or you got it under control or do you ever feel that way, I guess?
You know, it's tough. It's an ongoing thing, an ongoing issue that you're going to have to deal with every day. So I think the administrator of the school that says we've got a grasp on it, that they probably don't have one.
Well, I read and hear and am told that this sort of is an inherited thing that if a child is bullied at home, they may become a bully.
It's hard for me to speak on that. There's probably some research on that, but I don't know it. You know, it's a different world we live in today. I was talking with Jason earlier. Some things that happened to us, we were probably bullied back in the day also.
I can remember being bullied.
But that wasn't the word. So we try to educate kids and how to treat people.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was visiting with our band director, Miss Laminack, she also works with their elementary PE. When I walked by, she was talking with two kids, and they were playing a little rough. Was one bullying the other? Probably not. They were
Just horsing.
horsing around, but she talked to them a little bit about
Yeah.
why we're not going to do that. It could have escalated if she didn't do that.
If she
later
hadn't
on in the
done
day.
that, that's right. Well, that's good to know that your staff is fully aware of the problem. That's the first thing, I guess.
It is, and it even escalates up to our administration. We've got to do a really good job of documenting and talking to not only students but parents about what it really is and what are the expectations.
Good. Well, you have a good school reputation down there. Now I'm going to give you some history, which you may or may not want, but I was here many years, and we went through an effort by one of the physicians in this county at that time who had the idea of consolidating all the schools. There were 9 at that time. And he was instrumental in getting legislation passed that created incentive aid. Are you familiar with it?
I've heard of that.
You know, okay.
Yes, sir.
That the state would pay and pay and pay for these small schools to consolidate into one giant school. And he engineered and was capable and was able to get these 9 school districts to hold elections. To have passed, it would have had to pass in every one of those
Yes, sir.
districts. It failed in every one of them. And I think that speaks volumes for the people in your town, my town, all these towns. We're proud of our schools. They're not the best in the world, but we're working hard to make them that way. And I see you doing the same thing.
Well, I appreciate that. That's exactly what we want to do.
Because Eastland is now considering, and whether or not a bond issue will pass, I don't know. I do know that your school had one several years ago, and for several years, did have the highest school tax in the county. I've told some of my associates that if this bond passes, Gorman no longer will hold that distinction.
Well, you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
And I wouldn't predict it for anything, because you hear one thing in the barber shop and I don't know what goes on in the beauty shop. But people have their strong opinions, and there's a lot of history in your town and my town, every town, about the heritage of our school, and here's where we did this and where we did that. But we've all got to look down the road when we're not here.
Right.
And I'm not supposed to be speaking, you are.
Well, you're talking about taxes, and my wife and I, we bought a house in Gorman. We wanted our taxes to go to the students of Gorman. Our kids are already grown, but I didn't do that because I get paid by Gorman, but I want
Be a part of
I want to be a part of the community.
program. That's
and
right.
And I think our kids in Gorman, and we're Gorman Panthers. We don't want our money to go to
somewhere
Eastland
else.
or
That's right.
Carbon or Davion or anywhere else. We want to grow Gorman Panthers.
Absolutely.
We think that's important.
Do you know our editor from there, Margaret Hetry?
I have met her.
Good. Feel free to work with her in any way that she can help you do what you want to do with the school. Let her know about it, because she is really avid about supporting the Gorman schools, or the whole town, in fact. But how do you see the nursing home there?
That's pretty devastating. It's hard to process. I haven't been in the town for that long.
Yeah.
But anytime you
sure wasn't planning to go to the nursing home.
I hope not. I live about a block and a half from there, so it does impact me.
Sure.
But no, we'll just happen to see. It's people that we go to the coffee shop or the barber shop, or we sit in the same pews of people that are working there, and now they're having to drive somewhere else.
Well, we were told that no one is losing their job,
It's true.
which I think is commendable.
It is very commendable.
And they may still be living in Gorman and paying taxes there,
Right.
but they're just among those people who have to commute.
Right. But that's what kind of hurts, communities like ours is it may not be the industry moving out. It may be people living and having to commute
Right.
when gas, hopefully it doesn't go up to $4 a gallon. But if gas ever did go back up to that way, they may not be able to compute.
That is true.
and pay
That's
for
right.
that.
That's right. So I tell you, I've been preaching to the choir, I guess, for a long time, but I've always said the more we as towns and citizens of the various towns could and would work together, I'm convinced that there is nothing impossible for us to accomplish,
I agree.
which would be beneficial to all.
I agree.
And I'm getting it's much better than it used to be. I mean, there was a time when this town didn't speak to that town, and there was a lot of football Friday night rivalry, and there still is, but it doesn't have to boil over into violence. And I'd like to see these towns, and you can be instrumental. I'm recruiting, instrumental in getting towns to sit down together and say, hey, what could we do jointly to benefit all of us? I was born and raised in Gorman, which is technically pretty much the center of the county. And so I guess I'm biased maybe, but anyway, I've always thought that, we can't afford a big amusement park, and we certainly don't have excess water for a water park.
Yes, sir.
But there's no reason we couldn't jointly get together and put together something for our young people, good activities and so forth. So you talk it up in your town, and I'll keep talking it here, and maybe we can sit down together someday.
Well, there's some good administrators in all the towns. We sit on a board in a co-op that we have together with Ranger and Eastland and Cisco.
Right.
Moran's in that co-op also, and so we meet once a month and we talk. And I think Eastland has a great superintendent in Jason, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Thompson at Ranger, Mr. West at Cisco. We talk about that.
That's good.
We're Eastland County people. We want to be there for each other.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, even I guess I'll behind doors. Even the Eastland and Cisco, rivalries of the past. It's best for our kids if we're doing what's good for all the kids.
For all the kids, absolutely. Well, I see the possibilities, and I will tell you what I told Jason not long ago. I see you as a key in your town. I see him as a key in our town, and neither one of you should consider that Abilene job. Okay?
I had some gentlemen at Gorman asked me about that, and I told them, I said, y'all have done a really great job hiring and electing board members, because there's 7 board members. There's no way they'd pay me $400,000 to leave. So they've done a good job in Gorman.
Well, are you canceling an election or not? Did you have any?
We do not have to have an election this time.
See, that's commendable.
It is.
It is commendable. It speaks for the school system. It makes me feel good,
We're trying to get some consistency there.
Yeah.
We hope, or I hope personally, that I'm there 10 or 15 years. And
Yeah.
I hope our principals stay around, and I hope our teachers do. And
you want to name your principals? I've
Sure.
overlooked that.
Secondary principal is Brad Riker. He started in July of this year, so this is his first year. We have a middle school and a high school campus.
Right.
He does both of those. Our elementary principal is Susan Walker, and this is her second year there.
That sounds solid to me.
It is good. It is
Very
good.
solid. Very good. That's right. What program are you planning to initiate? Anything new?
Well, we're just wanting to make sure that we're improving all ours. I don't see anything new right now. New usually costs some money.
Yep.
And so we're sitting there. We're not in a bad situation, but we're not in a rich school district either. So probably not right now looking at new things. We're just trying to improve what we have, making sure we're moving forward.
That's solid. That's solid operations. And here we are sitting, and you're just a few miles off. One of the heaviest traveled Interstate 20s, So people who live in the Metroplex, they look at us out here and they say, man, I wish I could make a living out there so I could live where those people live. So we have a lot to offer.
We do.
If people would just You know, we need to provide jobs and opportunity for these people. And I think everybody's working in that direction.
No, I agree with that.
So now I know that in Gorman, probably I know it once was Mr. Peanut Town, but there's still an very active feed business there.
There is.
And other things are coming on, and I know people are looking down the road, and I will pledge our support for whatever good we can do, but we do want to help you do your work, do your job. So don't ever hesitate to call on us, ask us. Is there anything I have failed to mention or touch on?
No, I think you've touched on some really good things. Our economic board has done a great job. We've opened up a new Family Dollar that will have a.
That is true. Is that open yet?
It has. The grand opening, I believe, is this Saturday. That's big business. In some towns, that might not be a big deal.
It's
that's a
big
deal for 'em.
business. It is, absolutely.
We have another new business that's opened up on the corner that my wife really loves to shop at. Has some antique things and all. And
Is that a new antique store?
I don't know if it's antiques or not, but
Collectibles.
yes, sir.
Okay. Well, now the barbecue place is open, isn't it?
Harden's Barbecue is opened up, so we have some things
Yeah.
that have moved in there.
Do they have a dining room?
Right now, they don't. It's a drive-through.
It's a drive-through, take it
Yes,
home.
sir. And they have some tables and all outside. When it's nicer weather like today.
Yeah. Having been exposed to them, I can say that they have a good product.
They do.
Have you tried it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Free plug there for
That's
the
it.
Barton's
That's
Barbecue.
it.
Well, they were here, and my family thought, well, we must have Hardin's at least once a week.
Yeah,
But Gary, we're glad to have you with us. And if you can think of anything else, we'll let you lay it on Jason here. He's our
Okay.
technical director and keeps us out of pool halls and so forth. But we're glad to have you with us. And we hope that in the future you'll look to us. And any way we can help you, we want to do it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks
sir.
for coming. You
Thank you.
bet.
Well, that's been yet another Eastland County Today Live. You guys tune in next week and we'll end up having some more. We will catch you guys next time.